Hi everyone, my name is Farai. I'm originally from Zimbabwe, and today I thought I would talk a little bit about how hip-hop has driven my desire for success, and I guess how my life has changed or where my life has gone because of its influence. So I think a good place to start for me is probably with my first interaction with hip-hop. That was the first CD that I ever got as a gift. And I was 9 years old when I got this CD. And so I think the person probably liked, so the album Snoop Dogg, the name of the album was Doggy Style. And I think the person probably liked the song, you know, some of Snoop Dogg's songs, and saw a cartoon on the cover and thought, hey, this would be a great gift to give. But that's me over there when I was 9. And yeah, so I was quite shocked at, you know, at the cover. I was watching cartoons at the time, so this meant a whole lot more to me. And I think that was probably the first reaction for me was shock, but then also, okay, I wonder what this is about, right? So I started listening to the music and actually enjoyed it a lot. And then I moved on. I listened to some guys, Coolio, if you remember the song Gangsta's Paradise from a long time ago. And then there was Da Brat, who was like an awesome female rapper. I really liked her a lot. And you know, it was all nice music to listen to while I was playing video games or, you know, playing with friends. And I think, you know, I thought hip hop was fun. And these guys over here changed my perception of it. Well, specifically this guy. So his name is P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, as he used to be called at that time. And he was this really extravagant guy who was super wealthy. You know, he rapped about living this extraordinary life that I didn't know anything about. And I was 12 years old, just starting to be a teenager. And I'm like, wow, what is this, you know? Didn't help that he dated my crush at the time, Jennifer Lopez. But he also owned a record label, so he was a businessman, and he owned his own fashion label. So this was a whole different, I guess, world to me. You know, I was used to hip-hop being fun and just parties, and now all of a sudden, here's a guy who's, you know, extravagant, but also extremely wealthy and also a businessman. You know, at the same time, Jay-Z, P. Diddy's friend, and they like chains, both of them. He also happened to date one of my former crushes, Beyonce. Married her, actually. He also owned a record label, and obviously a clothing line as well. So I think, you know, for me, it was a whole mental shift, you know. It came from, okay, here's fun, and the move to more of, okay, this is a business. This is something that, you know, changes lives, and that, you know, this is a life that I don't know about. And I think that's where, you know, this appeal of hip-hop really, you know, came to me. And at that time, as an impressionable teenager, I was about 14, 15 when all of this was happening. Oh, actually, sorry. One thing I wanted to do very quickly was just tell you another thing about these lyrics, right? So, first of all, they're living this lifestyle. They've got all of these beautiful women, all of that stuff, and nice cars, all of that. And what they're saying is also mind-blowing, right? So, Jay-Z, one of his lines, and I'm gonna rap for you if I can. And if somebody would have told them that Hov would sell clothing, Hov being Jay-Z, not in this lifetime, wasn't in my right mind. That's another difference that's between me and them. I smartened up, opened the market up, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4. In 18 months, 80 million more. Now add that up with the number I said before, you're now looking at one smart black boy. Mama ain't raised no fool. Put me anywhere on God's green earth, I triple my worth. Now, what was crazy about that is he had literally made $80 million in the 18 months prior to writing that song. So it was also very, very real. So it's very easy to believe him when he says, I saw ice in the winter, I saw fire in hell, I'm a hustler, baby, I'll sell water to a well. I was born to get cake, being money, move on and switch states, cop the coupe with the roof gone and switch plates, was born to dictate, never follow orders. You know, so this was almost a lifestyle to me. I'm like, yes, I'm not gonna follow orders. I'm there, I can hustle, baby. I can do anything I want to do, right? Puff Daddy. Can nobody take my pride? Can nobody hold me down? Oh no, I got to keep on moving. Drive, persistence, right? And he's a little cheeky as well. You know, quit that. You're a big cat, or do you think you're established? Where your chicks at? Where your whips at? Where your cars? Wherever you get stacks, I'm gonna fix that. However you get money, I'm gonna make sure it dries up. Everything that's big dreams, I did that. Don't knock me because you're boring. I'm record sales soaring, straight touring. So this is just a wild, oh my gosh, I have to get into hip hop. This is just absolutely amazing. And this was hip hop to me at that time. I'm an impressionable teenager. Shock therapy, you know, anytime the world's boring, why not listen to some hip hop and get shocked? Testosterone, adrenaline, you know, no regrets, an unapologetic ambition, you know? You have to be a go-getter, and then you're gonna get success and wealth because of all of the other above. And then in the end, you have fun, you've got women, parties, and this was other music to me. Kind of introspective, love and monogamy, tranquility, safe fun, not a lot of adrenaline, and unsafe fun, because if you're headbanging, you know, you're prone to some serious injury, right? So, I mean, I was quite drawn into this, and I thought, you know what, why not explore more? And I really want to actually go and see this for myself and not on TV. And so I ended up making the move, went over to America, and not just to a normal school, I went to a historically black college and university, and that's my school over there. And while I was there, joined a fraternity. That's me with a shaved head. That was when we were coming out as a fraternity. Tried to be a rapper. And, you know, I thought, you know, everything was going well until one day when I joined a rap competition and came on stage. And within about 2 minutes, I was booed. So that was my rap career over. So pivot number one. Well, if I can't rap, let me go behind the scenes. Let me go be a rap producer. And so I was a student by day and a producer by night. And, you know, it was quite interesting. You know, there's a whole bunch of technical stuff, and I was kind of a geek as well, so that was really interesting for me. And I went and joined one of my cousins who had been in the States for quite a while. He started a record label. And I produced for some of his artists, and you know, this was all part-time, but you know, I was just hoping that something would really come out of this. In the meantime, I was doing internships, pursuing a corporate life, because I'd realized from the rap that, you know, I need to have a plan B. So plan B, did an internship at AIG, and I think when I got there, the share price was around 805 in end of May 2008. I did quite well, so you know, the guys gave me a job. I was like, yes, this is my way to wealth. I'm gonna be like P. Diddy one day. I'm in New York on Wall Street. And then I think around October 2008, share price was around about 42. And I had my offer retracted, and so I was back to square one. Pivot number two. As P. Diddy said, can nobody hold me down? So you have to keep on moving, right? So I went back to my cousin and I said, hey, listen, I've got some free time right now. I don't like, you know, I feel kind of uneasy not being busy. So can I work with you guys? Let me be a road manager for a little bit. He said, fine. So I was a road manager for a while. And then probably, I'd say 3 or 4 months later, we ended up getting signed to Grand Hustle. Now, if anyone doesn't know what Grand is, it's T.I., the rapper. So he's a platinum selling rapper in the US. And so he started his own record label. And so we ended up getting called by his manager one day. And so that was us getting signed. It's me in the club while we're performing. And we actually did a couple of big shows with, you know, more than 1,000 people. And I think we got over 2 million views on YouTube in like 2008, 2009. So that was, you know, a big thing, right? Touring, all of that stuff. And I think I did it for about 15 months or so. And then unfortunately, because I couldn't get a work permit for that situation, that also came to an end. But because this is a business school, I thought I would include what I learned. So So, from our successes, you don't need a perfect product to start. If you have time, youtube.com/Mr. Farai, I'll give you the URL later. But it's a terrible video. I shot it on my camcorder. I edited it in about 3 hours or so. And we basically posted it, and that was our main video. Got millions of views, so you don't need a perfect product to start. And that was something that I've always carried along with me. Your network is unbelievably important. So the only way you can spread as a musician, unless you've got a big label behind you, is if you have the DJs in your pocket. So they either have to be really good friends or you have to be very friendly with them. And so this is something we came to realize quite quickly, that, you know, if a DJ doesn't like you, you're pretty much dead in the water. So that was also very important for us. From our failures, leave your ego at the door. So it was a group. There's 4 guys. And this one song is the most famous song that we have, and it was sung mostly by one person. And he was doing most of the moves. And so the 4 group ended up turning into 1 person at the front and 3 backup dancers, really. And so obviously you're not going to be happy about that. But I think what happened was a lot of people wanted to, you know, come and do their song and say, listen, I think this is my song, this is my song. And, you know, it ended up being a real mess. And I think a lot of issues that we had ended up being about egos. Sorry, the one thing I missed out was that just as I was about to leave, the group was kind of disintegrating anyway. And so it didn't become the major success. I mean, it was big in about 4 or 5 states, but it didn't become the national success that we wanted it to be. And I think that was one of the major reasons. Discontent is highly contagious. So one person complains, the next person is going to complain, the next person is going to complain. So one thing I realized is anytime someone's dissatisfied or discontent, make sure you address it immediately because it can be very contagious. As much as you can, be fair. That's related to discontent. Keep your team in the loop. One thing I learned as their manager is I had this world vision of, yes, guys, we're going to tour the world and X, Y, Z, but I didn't really explain it to them very well. So we always had issues of guys not really wanting to listen to me, and I had problems with authority as well. And it was more because I hadn't sat down with them and said, guys, this is where I see us in 3 months, in 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, etc. Right? Last one, don't be content with mild success. So we were big in 3 or 4 states, and all of our rappers, well, the group, like, you know, were extremely happy about that. That's when you know, people start calling you that never used to answer your phones. So, you know, it was something where they experienced success, and well, we experienced success, and we were very happy with it, but we should have definitely not been content with it. So yeah, what I learned. Moving on to not being content with mild success. Pivot number 3, from the recording room to the boardroom. So finally, I had to leave America, work permit issues, and so I went back to South Africa, and with staying in line with what hip hop had given me as far as ambition and motivation and never giving up, I said, okay, let me 2 plans. Either try to apply for my MBA or apply for a job, and that's where I got a job with McKinsey. I spent 2 years there, did another 3 years with a mining company, and now I'm here. So that was my journey. Hip hop, McKinsey, Bushveld, London Business School. I'm not sure where next. But the one thing I know is that along the way, I think hip hop has had a really great influence on me. Obviously, there's the good and the bad, but I think for the most part, it's that desire for success, that drive that you know, has stayed within me. I don't listen to it as much, but it's definitely has a special place in my heart. And yeah, thank you so much. Cool. Any questions?
Do you think the youngsters nowadays want it all, but they try to get it quickly, so they might go into kind of, sorry, not stereotyping, drugs and stuff to try and get the end product?
Yeah, so I think that's probably the major issue with hip hop, and another issue that I have with reality TV as well, is that it kind of shows the wealth and not and all of that, but not really the background story to us. I mean, these guys have literally been probably sleeping 4 hours a day, and staying in the recording studio, and going to clubs, and because we used to hand out CDs at 3 in the morning, but all people see is this. And I think that's a major issue. So I think there's definitely some kind of way to at least educate youth on the amount of work that went into that kind of image.
What a presentation! Thank you so much. So I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Did you prepare the deck of slides especially for this presentation? Number 1.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Number 2, have you come across examples where hip hop has had a negative influence on people?
Yeah. First one, yes, I did. Presented it. Well, I made it for this presentation. And then second one, I think there's a lot of negative influences. So when I went to that historical the HBCU, it was, they place HBCUs close to poor neighborhoods because that's where, most of the black people are going to be. And so, I think within 3 weeks of me being there, I saw my first heroin deal, like live on the streets. And there were a lot of people, around, but no one did anything about it. And then, I've actually seen someone dead on the floor because someone was, shot and all of that kind of stuff. And I think hip hop definitely played a major influence on that. I mean, it was all of this, masculinity or, gang violence or whatever it is. And I think this has a major role to play in that. And it's more of them not having a disclaimer, just have a disclaimer on the front to say, hey guys, we want to talk about something, but don't do it or something. I don't know. But I think that's where it is. Is a lot of kids, at least for me, I was privileged to have P. Diddy, who wasn't about gangsters or anything like that. But I think a lot of kids these days really have, I would say, bad role models. And that's why I don't listen to hip hop as much now, but yeah.
Thank you. I want to know, so after such an amazing and unique experience, why suddenly did you choose McKinsey, and how do you think, your former experience helped you into McKinsey?
So I've always thought about this. So first of all, when I got to McKinsey, I was like, guys, I think you made a mistake. Like, but supposedly everyone feels like that anyway when you get there. But I think it was also the different background was something that actually got me the interview. They're like, oh, who's this guy who's managed the hip hop group? That's interesting. Let's just bring him in and see. And then, sorry, what was the other part of the question?
How do you think your previous experience helped you get into McKinsey?
Oh, yes. I mean, I think in general, I'd done a lot of internships. I did an internship with Oracle. I did an internship with Enterprise Rent-A-Car, AIG. And then along the way, obviously I was trying to maintain grades in between. So I think it was mostly that there was a solid background, but then here was this weird, extra thing on the side. Yeah.
What do you think about women in hip hop? Because after your presentation, maybe I want to start carrying hip hop. From the outside, it seems like it's very macho industry. I've seen like women in that industry.
Yeah. I think it's very tough for a woman because there's a couple of things that the topics that you can't address, or topics that you can't really rap about, right? You don't want to rap about, because a lot of rappers talk about, hey, I've got a lot of women. You don't want to say you've got a lot of men because it just sounds terrible. So it kind of limits, I think, so women have a much harder job because they've got a very limited range of topics they can actually rap about. And if you're talking about money a lot, which would be normal, then you sound like a gold digger. So it's very tough for a woman in the rap industry. And I think you would have to really think about what you stand for and what's your defining character. I think, what's his name? Macklemore has done a good job of coming and just being like, a good guy and fun guy. So you could also be a good, fun woman, all of that, but, clean fun with just to make sure that you're not branded in any kind of sort of way and more appeal to a larger audience. Yeah.
What's
Yeah. It's so I actually started rapping when I was 14, and one of my friends, we started a group together, and so he's actually stayed in the rap game, and so he won a couple of awards in Zimbabwe and stuff. So I mean, it's vibrant, but I think the biggest issue I have with Southern Africa, and well, actually Africa in general, well, actually the rest of the world besides America, is the market isn't large enough. I mean, another reason I went to McKinsey was because I thought, you know what, let me enter business and understand business, because I did a mental calculation and I said, what's the maximum I can make in hip hop versus the maximum I can make in corporate or just starting my own business. And it just, you know, when you think of Southern Africa in general, I mean, you're probably gonna, if you're wildly successful, you're probably worth $1 million. It's just, I mean, it's just a tough industry to be in. So the majority of artists in Africa are not too well off. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Cool.